Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another live English lesson presented by Zoom platform for conversing and produced by me, Hamid, your English teacher at FBSS Bilingual Secondary Schools. Last time we studied the prepositions in English and the WH questions. We also learned how to form a question with a preposition at the end. We did an exercise and we wrote questions for certain answers. Today we're going to cover another grammatical subject, which is the comparative and superlative adjectives. I suppose that you already have, okay, wait a minute. I suppose that you already know what is meant by an adjective. So, what is meant by an adjective? Can anyone tell me what do you mean when saying an adjective? Okay, can you say it in English? What is meant by adjective? Okay, no one can. I want it in English. Okay, so what do you mean by an adjective in English? An adjective is a word which describes a noun, like. So give me examples about adjectives. Can anyone give me an example about an adjective? Bad. Yes, bad is an adjective. Another one. Well, okay. What about the others? Give me examples of adjectives. Little. Okay. Only Awab is active. Thank you, Awab, for your activity. So, as we say, and as we have mentioned many times before, an adjective, describes a noun, okay? And it is a descriptive word. Examples of them of adjectives like big, small, happy, bad, interesting. Okay. Adjectives can compare two things or more than two things. When we make these comparisons, we use comparative and superlative forms of adjectives, right? So what is meant by comparative? And what is meant by superlative? Can anyone answer this question? I have given you this file in March 10, right? So 5 days ago, I gave you, in fact, this PDF file which speaks about comparative and superlative adjectives, and I suppose that you have read it by now. Okay. Yes, Awab. Only Awab is active and he is answering my questions. So, a comparative adjective is, yes, exactly, Awab. So, a comparative adjective speaks about comparing two things. So, to describe, for example, can you hear me? I think I have lost the connection. If you can hear me, please say. Say yes. Say yes. Okay, Adam. Adam, you're silent today. So, comparative adjective is used to describe nouns by comparing them. Which nouns? When we compare nouns, whether they are people, objects, animals, we compare them to something else or someone else. So in this, my connection is so poor, and I keep losing the connection. I don't know if you can hear me now. Unfortunately, the internet service is too bad. I think you cannot hear me. Okay. How about now, Awab? I think it's better now. Right? Is it better? Okay. So, we were saying when comparing two things or two entities, we're likely to use adjectives like what? Like, let me show you. Okay. Now this is better. So, when comparing two things or two entities, we usually use adjectives like, for example, smaller, right? Bigger, taller. What else? More interesting, for example. Notice the ending, the ER at the end of these words, and the word more. Many people make mistakes in using incorrectly formed adjectives. Like, for example, some of them, they say, for example, his cat is more large than my dog. This is incorrect, right? Why? Because the correct form should be like this. His cat is larger than my dog, right? So what makes the first example wrong and the second one right? There are a few rules that explain this. Yes, Awab. We have certain rules. I think that you have read them in the PDF file, right? The first one, it speaks about how to form an adjective, a comparative adjective or superlative adjective. Now we are speaking about the comparative adjectives. How to form comparative adjectives. We have certain rules. The first one, for adjectives that are just one syllable, we only add er at the end, right? For example, here the adjective big, we only add er, right? Or for example here, smarter, yes, we only add er to the adjective, which is smart, which is a one-syllable word, a one-syllable adjective. The other rule is for two syllables, so two-syllable adjectives, which those that they do not end in y, or three or more syllable adjectives. We use the form more plus an adjective, right? Example of this, like the word interesting, like the adjective interesting. To make it into a comparative adjective, we only add more, so it becomes more interesting. We cannot say interestinger, right? This is wrong. And the other one, the other rule is for the two-syllable adjectives ending in y. We change the y into I, and we add er. Like what? Like happier. Right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So if we have an adjective which consists of two syllables, and it ends in y, like the adjective happy, we change the y into I and we add er to make or to form a comparative adjective, right? So these simple rules make it easy to tell when you should add er or ier, and when you should use the form more plus an adjective. Let us see these examples. For example, this house is more exciting than yours. This is this is a comparative. The sentence contains a comparative adjective, which is exciting. So here, because it is more than one syllable adjective, we add more before it, right? We cannot say excitinger. Awab, what do you mean by exciting? We have studied such a word since the first days of this school year. Do you remember when I told you? Somehow. No. Yes. It means it gives you excitement. Yes, exactly, Adam. So now another sentence. For example, Mike. Okay. The problem with Mike is funnier than Adam. Okay. So Adam, I'm not asking about the meaning of the word Mike. I'm speaking about Mike, the person. So here there's another sentence which contains a comparative adjective, which is funnier. And what is the the original form of the word of the adjective funnier? It is funny, right? And because it contains two syllables and it ends in y, so we change the y into an I, and we add er to form a comparative sentence, right? So there is another rule that should be mentioned here, which is that if you have a one-syllable adjective which ends in a consonant and it is preceded by a vowel letter, so we should duplicate the last letter of the adjective. Shall I repeat? If we have a one-syllable adjective which ends in a consonant letter and is preceded by a vowel letter, we should duplicate the last letter of the adjective. Like what? Like the adjective big. It is a, okay. It is a one-syllable adjective, right? And it ends in a consonant letter. ايش معنى consonant? What do you mean by consonant? Consonant letter. You know what is meant by a consonant and vowel, right? Do you remember when we explained what are the vowel letters in English and what is meant by a vowel? How many vowels do we have in English? How many vowel letters do we have in English? And what are they? I want someone to answer my question. No one? How many vowels do we have in English and what are they? What about the others? I have some answers, but I'm looking for the other people who are silent. What about the others who are silent? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? What about the others? Okay, they are losing their marks. Now, how many vowels we said in English we have as Adam and Awab answered? We have 5 vowel letters in English, and they are A, E, I, O, and U. So any other letter, they are called consonants, right? They are called consonants. And what do we mean by consonants? We mean consonant letters. What do you no yes, awab. صحيحة. Consonant letters. So here, if we have a one syllable adjective which ends in a consonant letter, and before it, I mean this consonant letter is preceded by a vowel letter, which is here in this case I. What should we do? We should duplicate the last letter. And what do you mean by duplicate? We make it double, right? We should duplicate the last letter, and we should do what? We should add the ER, right? Give me more examples. Like what? Like, for example, tall. No, not tall. We'll get back to this later. What else? Can you give me an example about Adam? Because my internet is so poor. I think that it should be better now. So can you give me more examples about adjectives endings in a consonant letter and before it there is a um, vowel? Yes, we have newcomers. Okay, can you give me more examples about this? We have big, we said it's bigger, right? So what else? More examples? No example? I want a web. Yeah, no, a web. We are speaking about regular adjectives, which consist of one syllable and ends in a consonant letter, and before it there is a vowel letter. We said that we should duplicate the last letter and we add er to form the comparative adjective. Now I'm asking you to give me more examples about such an adjective which consists of one syllable and it ends in a consonant, and before that there is a vowel letter. A web. We have this adjective. It consists of one syllable, right? I want another adjective which consists of one syllable and it ends in a consonant, and before that there is a vowel letter. Like what? Like thin, right? Another example, fat, right? These are adjectives ending in one consonant. Before it there is a vowel letter, right? What should we do in this case? We said that we should duplicate the last consonant letter of the adjective, and we add er to form the comparative sentence. Comparative adjective. Right? This is what I was asking about. Okay? Now, so now you know what's meant by consonant and vowel, and you know how to form a one syllable adjective which ends in a consonant letter. So for those newcomers who did not hear what I was saying, if a one-syllable adjective ends in a consonant letter and before it there is a vowel, we said we should duplicate the last consonant letter and then we add er to the adjective if we want to form the comparative adjective. So now let's move to the superlative adjectives. What do you mean by superlative adjective? And what is the difference between a comparative and superlative adjective? What's the difference between them? We said that when we speak, when we use the comparative adjective, it means that we are speaking or making comparison. Please stop the video. Okay. We said that when we speak about or when we use the comparative adjectives, it means that we are making comparison between two things or people. Okay. So when comparing more than two things or people, we usually use words and phrases like what? Like, for example, smallest, biggest, right? Tallest, most interesting. Okay, I have a newcomer. Okay, so notice the EST at the end of these adjectives, which we call the superlative adjectives. Here in the first three, we have the three letters EST, but in the last one, we have the word must, which comes before the adjective to form a superlative adjective. So superlative adjectives are used, as we said, to compare three or more nouns. They're also used to compare one thing against the rest of a group. And superlative adjectives show, as you can read in the PDF file that I sent you, it shows a higher level of comparison between certain things. We should also pay attention to how to form them. You have certain rules which you can find in the PDF file. The first rule of forming a comparative adjective is what? The first rule, just like the other one, just like the way we studied in forming the comparative adjectives. So the same rules is applied here. So the first thing is to pay attention to the syllables of the adjective. If the adjective consists of one syllable, we should add est to the adjective to form the superlative adjective. The second one, if the adjective consists of two syllables and it ends in y, we should change the y into an I and add est. And last, if the adjective consists of two syllables or more and does not end in y, we should add must before the adjective. Before checking some examples, pay attention, students, we may lose the connection. Okay, so if we lose it, please come back to it again. Okay, So before checking some examples, I want to clarify something here. The first thing, just like the way we followed in forming the comparative adjectives, if we have an adjective which consists of one syllable and it ends in a consonant letter which is preceded by a vowel letter, then we should duplicate the last letter before adding est. Okay? The second one, the second notice I want to mention is that when a second note, for example, I think that's okay. You can hear me now. Okay, so the second one is when we use the comparative and the superlative adjectives, but especially the comparative adjectives, we should put the word than after the comparative adjective. Okay? We cannot say, for example, my house is larger yours. For example, if we write such a sentence, my house is larger yours. This is an incorrect sentence. Why? Because we should put what? We should put the word than after the comparative adjective. Now we are talking about comparative and superlative adjectives in general, Awab. So, and the same way is correct in superlative adjectives. But when we mention the other group, sometimes we do not need to mention the other group compared to the first element or person or whatsoever. And the last thing I want to mention here is that in superlative adjectives, we should use the article the before the superlative adjectives. So now let's check these examples of superlative adjectives and see them in sentences before. Okay. The adjective big, how to form it into a superlative adjective. We said it is a one syllable adjective ending in a consonant letter, which is preceded by a vowel letter. So we should say biggest, right? Why? Because we have a one syllable letter, one syllable adjective, which is preceded, which ends in a consonant letter, and it is preceded by a vowel letter. Just if you don't mention your name, you will lose, and I will not know who are you. Okay, so another example of superlative adjectives. For example, the word smart. It is what we were speaking about superlative adjectives. Okay, so how to form a superlative adjective out of the adjective smart? We add smartest. We add est, right? So now we have another one. How to form a superlative adjective out of the adjective happy? We should omit the y and we add iest, right? The happiest. And what about the adjective interesting? How to form or compare a superlative adjective out of interesting? We should say most interesting, right? We said that in a sentence we should precede these adjectives, these superlative adjectives with the article the, right? So let's check these examples. Okay, guys, we will lose the connection now. Please come back.
I will meet you again in 1 minute. Welcome back again. So these are some examples concerning how to use the superlative adjective. So here the first one, Jupiter is the biggest planet in our system. Where is the superlative adjective? It is the word biggest, right? Pay attention that we have preceded the word with the article the, right? And this is the way we formulate a sentence with a superlative adjective. Here, where's the superlative adjective in the sentence? She is the smartest girl in our class. It is the word smartest, right? And pay attention to the before it. And what about here? This is the most interesting book I have ever read. The original adjective is interesting because it contains more than one syllable and it does not end in y, so we should use the most version of forming a superlative adjective. We should not add est. We should precede it with most. And before most, we should put the article the, right? So it becomes the most interesting book I have ever read. Right? So now the last thing to mention here is that there are some irregular adjectives that you have to memorize because they do not follow the rules. Like what? And what do you mean by irregular adjectives? If you can find them in this timetable at the end, you can read. However, there are many irregular adjectives that do not follow the rules of adding er or est when forming comparative and superlative adjectives. So you should no, you cannot change bad into badder when you want to form it into a comparative adjective. Because bad. Yes, okay. I thought that you were asking. Okay. So these are some irregular adjectives that you have to memorize because they do not comply to any rule of what we were speaking about. Okay, so that's it for the comparative and superlative adjectives. I hope that you find it easy to form and use. And I'm going to give you a homework later on. And next time, inshallah, we may have a quiz, a quick one. And we will do the exercises in the activity book, inshallah. So if you have any question, you can ask me now, or you can send your question later on. So what is your homework? I will tell you about the homework after the lesson. Inshallah, today I will post something in your Google class. So check out your assignments. It's okay, Adam. If you don't have an activity book, I think I have uploaded a digitalized version of activity book. But however, I will upload it again as a PDF file so you can check it and do the exercises. Okay? So do you have any question? Do you have any question? So that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining our lesson. And please tell your colleagues who do not join our live lessons, uh, tell them that they are losing. They are currently losing marks. Okay? So thank you and see you again inshallah next time.